I got a new ring light. If you don't know what a ring light is, that is what a ring light is. Oh, should have set this up before I pressed record. Oh, it's too low. Ring light's good though, isn't it? Look at that. So, ring lights, for those of you who don't know, are not some sort of sex toy, as loads of people started asking me after I posted a picture saying I got a new ring light. They're a light in the shape of a ring. Soz. And then they change colour, look. Oh my god. I'm gonna stop now. The reason I got a new ring light was because I'm doing this mental health awareness project. Did I say hello? I'm not sure. Hello. I'm doing this mental health awareness project, which I keep calling a project, and people are like, oh my god, you're doing a project. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just calling it a project because it sounds really good. And I guess the definition of project, I don't know what the definition of project is. I don't know why I started that sentence, but I would imagine it's something similar to what I'm doing. Basically, interviewing people about their mental health experiences, their personal ones, and then sharing them with people either via a blog on my website, jemimahughespoet.co.uk. There is a blog up there called 3 Years Sober by Daniel Kay, who is unbelievable, and you should go and check that out. And by the time this video goes up on YouTube, there'll probably be a second blog up there. Then I'm going to be doing some video interviews as well, and putting them up on YouTube is the plan. Just got to wait for like the go ahead with making sure it's okay to be in the same room with people and all of that kind of stuff. So if you want to be involved in the project and share your story, please get in touch with me. If you've got me on social media, Jemima_unspoken on Instagram, and don't message me on Twitter. I fucking hate Twitter. I don't understand it. So just message me on Instagram, and if not, go on jemimahughespoet.co.uk and there's a contact section and just send me a message. I think it goes through my email, and then like let me know you want to be involved. It'd be really cool to have you involved. So if you want to be involved, get involved. Anyway, the reason for this video, I think it'd be cool to live in a world where we all know what to do if someone is having an issue with their mental health. I think the more we educate ourselves about anything, but in this case mental health issues, the more understanding we have, and therefore the more acceptance people have who are in those situations. And acceptance for people living with mental health issues is paramount for them living comfortably and feeling like they can reach out and get help. I asked my Instagram followers to answer the question of, if you were experiencing a certain thing, which is going to be like anxiety, depression, things like that, which I'll go through in a minute. I have paper on my lap, by the way, in case you're wondering why I'm pointing to my lap. That's a bit weird, isn't it? I'll go through that in a minute. If they were going through a mental health issue, how a friend of theirs could help them in that situation, or someone around them. And I thought then I'll share those things with you, and then if you have somebody near you going through it, or a friend going through it, or even if you're going through it yourself and you just, you know, want to know some coping mechanisms, we got you. We got each other. I'm going to start with anxiety. If you are experiencing anxiety, how could someone help you? Listen to me and hear me rather than assuming telling me to cheer up will help. I think sometimes flippant comments are just unhelpful. When you listen to someone, hear what they're saying. You don't have to know what to say back. Sometimes just being heard is enough. Acknowledge how I'm feeling, be kind, be calm, get me a blanket and a drink, stop everything temporarily, and use a quiet voice. Love that. Get me a blanket, get me a drink. But they're not wrong, you know. You can check with each person individually, like, what do you need? It's the little things, man. And stop everything temporarily. That makes so much sense, because if you're anxious, you're probably anxious about something that is like about to happen, is very common, or something that's coming up. And so by stopping everything and taking away that trigger, taking away the reason, that would really help. Listen to me. Keeps coming up. Listening, such a powerful thing. Watch how I hold myself and notice changes. Anxiety manifests itself differently for everybody, but especially if you're around somebody you know, if you're around a friend, I think you can start to notice little changes in their actions and their behaviours. I know for me, when I'm getting anxious, I cannot keep still. So yeah, if you can, try and notice changes in people's behaviours. Just reassure them that you're there and ask them, are you doing all right? Is there anything you need? And I'm here for you. Just be there, even if it's on the phone, an ear and reassurance after letting me know how... Wow. Okay, start again. Just be there, even if it's on the phone, full stop. I can't read this sentence properly. Lend an ear there's the camera, lend an ear, and then be reassuring after I've let you know how I'm feeling. There we go. Whew, got there. So yeah, makes sense. Now it does. Lend an ear to somebody, and also then after they've shared how they're feeling, just be reassuring that it's okay that they just let you know that. Thank you for sharing with me is such a powerful thing to say. My best mate has always said that to me. I remember the first time he said it to me a few years ago. I'd text him something and he said, thank you for sharing that with me. And I was like, huh. That made me want to share again, and that's so important to feel like you can keep reaching out if you need to, because these things are never like, well, they can be a one-time thing, but are they really often? I just moved the camera. They're not often a one-time thing. They're very often reoccurring. Get me to write down or say out loud how I'm feeling, even if I think it's stupid. That makes sense. I keep saying that. Of course they make sense. I wouldn't have used them otherwise, would I? Saying how you feel in that moment, because sometimes anxiety can be because of like a completely irrational thought, getting wound up about something that is never as bad as what you expect when you actually end up doing it. So say it out loud. Ask somebody, so, you know, what is it you're anxious about? Do you want to talk about it? Because maybe saying it out loud or writing it down and looking at it from a different perspective will make it easier to process. Make that person realise that actually the anxiety they're feeling is more overthinking than it is the actual situation that's in front of them. The next one is help me with my breathing and meditate. And now a lot of times through these things that I asked people came up with meditation and breathing. And if you've never tried if you've never tried breathing, if you've never tried meditation, it is great. And I know a lot of people swear by it. I personally don't have a great time with meditation. My head gets super loud. I have had moments where it's worked, and I would advise anyone and everyone to try it, because you just don't know how it's going to work for you. Having good breathing habits is useful. I do like box breathing, which is you imagine a box being drawn in front of you. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, and keep drawing that box until your breathing calms down. In yoga, I would do slow breathing in through my nose and out through my nose, and I would count to 7 seconds on those. I think it's just, the counting is a distraction. I do like the counting. Don't count to like 100 though, that won't be useful. I need silence, and I need people to just stop. Reduce the stimulus and input that is making me anxious so I can work through it one thing at a time. Whatever this stimulus is that is making the anxiety worse, let's take that away. Let's get rid of that. If I'm going to perform, I get so anxious about going to perform. And I just tell myself, I don't have to do this. And I think if you just take away that thing that is pushing the anxiety through your body, it makes such a big difference. There is no expectations, only experiments. Write things down sometimes. Oh, done that. Give me space and offer an ear. So it's really important when people are struggling with anxiety, I think, to just make sure that they've got some space if they need it, because it is something that can make your chest feel tight and your breathing a little bit strange. So give them space, but let them know you're there. Don't give them enough space that they're like, where you go? Cool. So communicate some reassurance that I will be okay. Talk and be present. And if nothing else, the conversation might allow my brain to forget the cause of the anxiety. Keep communicating with people. Just let them know you're there. Ask them what they need. Constant reassurance that everything is going to be okay and that they're not on their own and we're working through it together. So the next couple of points on the anxiety question was leave me alone to compose myself, and a cuddle or a hug from 2 different people. And I think that's just so important to demonstrate that different people will need different things. Ask them, what do you need? I've said it so many times. And then if it is a hug they need, squeeze them really tight. And if it is space they need, give them space, but let them know you're still there. On to the next one. If you're going through depression, how can people around you, friends or just other people generally, help you through that dark time? First one is leave me alone until I require something or someone. Still, I'm here for you. If you need anything, let me know, but space, because they just need to let this moment pass. Acknowledge how I feel, check in, support me if I have appointments to get to, and take some of the mental load. The acknowledgement is such an important thing. Even if somebody needs space and you're leaving them to it, acknowledge how they feel. Checking in, super important as well, just letting them know that I am still here even if I'm not physically right next to you at that moment. Support me if I have appointments to get to, always. If somebody is reaching out for help, hell yeah, we promote that. We tell them that's incredible. I'm so proud of you for reaching out for help and you are worth helping. Take some of the mental load. Yeah, absolutely, I agree, but I would add, if you can. You have to be mindful of your own mental health as well. We're no use to other people if we're not checking in with our own mental health. But if you can, take some of their mental load. However, if you're feeling like you can't do that, that's absolutely okay. Put a comedy on. And as simple as that is, I can totally relate to it, because what I watch on TV affects me. I have this really awful habit, like such a bad habit, of watching crime documentaries when I'm feeling really low. I'll be like, oh, I really need to see something about murder now. Like, why? And then I'll watch like 3 hours of crime documentaries and I'm like, I feel even worse. Why do I feel worse than I did 3 hours ago? Well, you're probably going to do that to yourself if you put something pretty depressing on and you already feel depressed. Whereas if I put like a comedy on, New Girl, Schitt's Creek on Netflix, if you haven't watched Schitt's Creek, this isn't a Netflix recommendation video, but if you haven't watched Schitt's Creek, go and watch it and then come and tell me how right I was. Just put a comedy on. If you're already feeling low, it's like being heartbroken and listening to heartbreak songs. They don't really help you. Give me space. I'd hate to feel like I'm dragging someone down. I'd hate to feel like I'm dragging someone down. I understand that. I think that's such a normal feeling for people to feel like when they feel down, they don't want it to pass on to other people. However, that's where the reassurance comes in. If you can be there for somebody and you can take that mental load for them and stuff, reassure them that it is okay for them to lean on you. Somebody's put journal daily 3 things I'm grateful for. A lot of like therapists recommend things like this, is like writing down positive affirmations, things you're grateful for, like looking in the mirror and saying 3 positive things about yourself and your day and things like that. So yeah, writing down positive things, all for it. I would say you could suggest it to somebody. Certainly don't be forcing people to do things like that and they're feeling depressed, or make them feel bad if they can't do things like that, because sometimes when you're depressed, you can't do a lot. You can't do anything sometimes. Getting out of bed is an achievement when you're feeling particularly depressed. If somebody has said to you, I just can't get out of bed today, the best way you can reply is, that is absolutely okay. Try again the next day. Listen and discuss problems if I'm willing to talk. Feeling heard is life-saving, and let the person decide themselves if they want to talk. There's no pressure. And if they decide to talk, the next one is let me unravel. Yeah, man. It's not necessary to be like, right, and then this is how we fix it. Like, you don't have to know how to fix everything for people. Like, the amount of times that someone has just gone to me, oh man, that's shit, I'm sorry that you're going through that. And I'm like, you know what, it is shit. So my feelings are valid and thank you, that's all I needed. Give me the biggest cuddle ever, as if letting go would mean I'd be gone forever. So I think this goes back to what someone needs personally. Some people will need more space. Some people will need closer proximity and a bit of love and affection. Ask them, what do you need? Be a shoulder to cry on or just some company. Just be there. And the final one I've got here, invite me to things but with no pressure to turn up. Invite people to things, but then if they say either, first off, I may not be able to make that, or they say yes and then they pull out last minute, that's okay. They're allowed to do that. All right, on to panic attacks. Give me space in a quiet place. Definitely with panic attacks, a bit more space is needed, but be there. Don't give enough space that they've lost you. They need to be able to see you. Ground me, firm but quiet words, and breathe with me. I know through going through panic attacks myself, someone breathing with me was super important. My best friend would always say, shall we do some breathing? Just breathe loud enough that they can hear you and they can copy your inhale and your exhale. If you're in a crowded place, this one is lead by hand to a quiet place. Don't leave me, but don't crowd me. I remember years ago, I was in a club with my friends and somebody else had a panic attack. Somebody who had said they were a nurse, but they were actually just drunk in this club, so I don't know if they were a nurse, but they had taken this person into a toilet cubicle for them to calm down. Now, that's not where I would have wanted to be if I was having a panic attack. If you can, outdoors is better. Space, not in a shut off little claustrophobic room. Lead to a quiet place, but also like open space, fresh air, glass of water. Take me for a walk, in brackets, I sound like a dog. Yeah, but like, I know what you mean. You did word it like you're a dog, but it is important that you go out and get fresh air. Controlled breathing, again, just slow, calm, controlled breaths, maybe box breathing. Encourage me outside or to a window. Yeah, I mean, if you can't get outside, like I keep saying, fresh air, a window. I spend a lot of time in this room, probably too much time. I also then have panic attacks sometimes, and if I feel it coming on, the window is my go-to because I don't always feel ready to go outside. Go and open that window and breathe some fresh air. It's like it's thinner air. It's really strange. Grounding techniques. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. If you are with someone and they are having a panic attack or they are building towards a panic attack, start grounding techniques. Just gives them something else to think about other than what is provoking the panic. Stay with me and talk to me, apart from the fact, obviously, don't walk off, don't be a dick, but talking, because hearing somebody's voice is grounding, especially if it's a familiar one as well. And for me, remind me who you are. It is insert name here. I'm here for you, I'm not going anywhere, we're doing this together. Tell me 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear. Take me away from the situation. Yeah, if there's a situation that is really bloody obviously making someone panic, get them out of the situation. Hold my hands and ask me to focus on them whilst we take deep breaths. Absolutely. I keep kicking it. It's a bit grounding to be able to feel somebody else's presence. Or just before you hold the hands, I would say, can I hold your hands, and hold your hands out and give them the option. I'm just thinking of panic attacks I've had where I didn't want to hold hands. Ask the person, will you take my hands? Shall we do some breathing? And somebody else said peppermint oil helps them to be calm. So tell someone, lean on me. Ask them, what do you need? Listen and let them feel heard. You don't have to know how to fix it to be of any help. Don't say things like calm down, relax, be happy, don't cry, you'll get over it. These are not reassuring things. These are not useful things. Either let those emotions be felt, let them know you're there, listen to them, or actively try to help, like, shall we do some breathing together? And finally, say thank you for sharing that with me so that they know that they can always share with you again in the future. One of the big things that affects my mental health is lack of sleep. And so I asked people all of their little tips they have for getting to sleep, and I'm just going to reel those off in case any of them become of use to yourself. Listening to meditation music, chamomile tea and pucca nighttime tea, lavender oils, a bath, reading and focusing on the words rather than glancing over it. I find that if I'm trying to really focus on reading a book, I go to sleep. I think I just don't enjoy reading. Sounds of the sea, sounds of many things, and there's the Sleep Remedies app, and there's probably loads more. I listen to a vacuum, and I just like that constant white noise that drowns out everything else, so vacuum works for me. But you can, on Sleep Remedies, you can like mix different ones together. It's very fancy. Exercise throughout the day. Breathing exercises, slow and steady. Sherlock Holmes audiobooks, very specific we're getting now. Listening to something that distracts my brain from thinking about going to sleep, e.g. an audiobook, a comedy, relaxation videos on YouTube. And I think that's the point, is sometimes if we put ourselves in a silent room and tell ourselves we are going to sleep now, it just makes it harder. Sometimes you just need something you can hear in the background. Calm app someone suggested, and the sleep stories on there apparently are extremely good, and it also has music and meditation. Having a productive day, this is a thing. So having a productive day, absolutely true. I think if you go to bed at night and you feel like you've been productive and also a little bit worn out from doing it, great. But sometimes people are not in a position to get up and do and be productive. I've had days where I couldn't get out of bed, but you still need to sleep at night. If you can't move throughout the day, it doesn't mean your sleep is any less important at night. Having a productive day can be as simple as waking up, getting dressed, cleaning your teeth. That can be, if that's the level of productive you are that day, you can be proud of yourself for doing those things. I've absolutely had days where I have been unbelievably proud of myself just for waking up in the morning. And if that's your goal that day and you do it, good for you. Don't use my phone straight before bed. Being in a tent, a hard reset to the body clock. I would link that into, I found changing positions of where I sleep. So obviously like being outside in a tent is completely different if you're not going to be going out and sleeping in a tent. I found sleeping the other end of my bed, sleeping on the floor, changing positions somehow within the room that I'm in actually made a difference on my sleep occasionally. My little things that I do myself, I watch Friends, well I don't watch it, I listen to Friends in the background. People slate me for that, some people hate Friends. It's nostalgic and it's light-hearted. I know all the words anyway, so I don't need to listen, so it puts me to sleep. I wear an eye mask sometimes. It's just like, it's almost the comfort of having something, the feeling of something over your eyes. Slow breathing, counting. Sometimes I just count and keep counting and hope that I fall asleep, and sometimes it's worked. I rehearse my poems. Now, you could try this if you have things to rehearse, because it's really good for them sinking in as well, apparently, if you rehearse them before bed. But my poems put me to sleep, and I don't think that's a good sign. Don't force it. Don't force yourself. Don't tell yourself, I have to go to sleep right now. There's all the time. It's okay. Like, you don't have to go to sleep right now. Try not to be too hard on yourself. But of course, if it does go too far and you are just not getting enough sleep on a consistent basis, please speak to somebody you trust. Reach out to your GP. And finally, I put your phone on airplane mode. It can't be for everybody that you have the luxury of turning your phone off at night, but if you do, to save the curiosity of whether things are coming through, I know that that's helped me at times. All right, so I think that's everything. And thank you for listening to this. Hopefully it's helped in some way. We'll keep learning, we'll keep understanding, we'll keep accepting. If you want to be part of that mental health project, don't forget to reach out to me. Again, jemimahughespoet.co.uk. There is the contact page if you want to get in touch with being in the project. There is the support page if you need help with a domestic violence situation or a mental health situation. Please reach out for help, and I'll see you soon.